Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the clarity that comes when every fiber of your being vibrates with a single unwavering intention. In that state, you are no longer tossing thoughts like pebbles into a murky pond. Instead, you are shining a laser beam through glass, focused so precisely that nothing can deflect or dilute its power. This is the essence of certainty in intention, and it forms the cornerstone of any telepathic imagining aimed at drawing another's attention and affection. When you embrace certainty, you shift from a place of hoping or wishing into a domain where you know implicitly that what you intend is already accomplished. That knowingness isn't arrogance. It's a humble acknowledgement that your inner world directly shapes your outer experience. To cultivate this certainty, begin by identifying the precise feeling you wish to anchor in your mind. If your goal is to have your special person think of you obsessively, ask yourself, how would it feel to know they are drawn to you every moment? What sensations would ripple through your body? Would your heart feel light and buoyant, as though lifted by an invisible current? Would your chest expand with warmth as you realize they cannot stop smiling at your memory? By dwelling on these sensory details, you create an emotional portrait so vivid that your subconscious mind accepts it as truth. Next, practice speaking internal affirmations in the present tense, as though the desired reality is unfolding now. Replace tentative statements like, I hope they notice me, with bold declarations such as, they are captivated by me. As you repeat these phrases, attune to the subtle shifts in your physiology, a softening in your jaw, a steadying of your breath, an opening in your chest. These bodily cues confirm that your inner conviction is deepening. Over time, this becomes a self-reinforcing cycle. The more your body responds, the more your subconscious registers certainty, and the more your subconscious works to align external circumstances with your inner decree. It's also essential to remove any conflicting thoughts that undermine your certainty. Notice if a whisper of doubt arises, perhaps a memory of past rejections or a worry about timing. Instead of battling that doubt directly, which only strengthens its presence, gently redirect your focus back to your chosen feeling state. Imagine that doubt as a tiny cloud drifting across a bright sky. Acknowledge its presence without chasing it, and then return your gaze to the sunlit horizons of your intention. This practice of calm redirection trains your mind to honor only the thoughts that serve your highest desire. Another critical step is to integrate your certainty into daily routines. Choose simple triggers, such as brushing your teeth, making your morning coffee, or pausing at a red light, to remind yourself of your chosen intention. In each of these moments, take a brief mental pause. Breathe deeply, reestablish the feeling of mutual fascination, and reaffirm that your special person's mind is naturally gravitating toward you. These micro practices accumulate like drops filling a reservoir, reinforcing your inner state until it becomes the default setting of your consciousness. Equally important is to visualize a small, personal token that symbolizes your intention. It could be a ring, a flower, or a simple handshake, anything that carries emotional weight for you. During your mental rehearsals, imagine holding that token, feeling its weight and texture in your hand. Let it serve as a tactile anchor for your certainty. Whenever uncertainty creeps in, picture yourself holding that token again. Immediately, your mind will recognize its meaning and revert to the empowered state you've associated with it. In addition to these inner practices, cultivate a supportive outer environment. Surround yourself with subtle reminders of the feeling you wish to nurture. Perhaps place a photograph that evokes happy memories. Choose music that stirs a gentle longing, or light a scented candle whose aroma you find uplifting. These environmental cues work in harmony with your mental rehearsals, creating a multisensory ecosystem that nurtures certainty at every level of your being. As you grow more comfortable with this process, you'll notice a natural shift in how you carry yourself. Your posture will become more open, your gaze more assured, and your voice more resonant. These outward changes are signposts that your inner certainty is blossoming. People around you will pick up on this unspoken confidence and respond accordingly, often without understanding why they feel drawn to you. This is the subtle yet profound effect of a mind fully committed to its intention. Perhaps most importantly, remember that certainty does not equate to rigidity. Life unfolds in mysterious ways, and the path to your goal might wind through unexpected detours. Maintaining certainty means staying fluid and adaptable in your approach while never wavering in the inner conviction that the end result is already secure. If circumstances shift or new opportunities arise, greet them with curiosity and integrate them into your unfolding vision rather than seeing them as obstacles. To ground all of this, Set aside a few moments each day for quiet reflection. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and revisit the core feeling that first inspired your intention. Let it wash over you like a gentle tide, carrying away any residue of doubt or distraction. Bask in that feeling until it ripples through every cell of your body. When you emerge from this inner sanctuary, carry with you a sense of calm assurance that colors each interaction and decision you make. By weaving together these practices, sensory-rich feeling, present tense affirmation, gentle redirection of doubt, environmental supports, and daily reflections, you forge an unshakable foundation of certainty. In that state, your imagination becomes a magnetic beacon, sending out waves that draw your special person's attention and affection. What begins as an inner conviction ultimately takes shape in the world around you, guiding thoughts, words, and actions toward the reality you have already embraced within. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean of possibility, each wave whispering the promise of connection. When you shift your attention away from the rocky shoals of present circumstances and toward the sunlit shore of imagined reality, you discover that your inner focus is the compass guiding every unfolding event. In the practice of telepathic imagining, this redirection of attention is not an escape from reality, but a deliberate retraining of the mind to perceive only what serves your highest intention. I remember a time when I was consumed by evidence of what is, missed calls, unanswered messages, the hollow echo of days without a word. My heart sank each time I revisited those reminders of absence, as if I were replaying a broken record of disappointment. One evening, weary of the same old soundtrack, I closed my eyes and resolved to chart a new mental course. Instead of dwelling on silence, I turned my gaze inward, toward the reality I wish to inhabit. In that moment, everything began to change. Begin by acknowledging that reality, as you experience it, is built from the mosaic of your thoughts. These tiles can be rearranged at will. When you find yourself fixated on evidence that contradicts your desire, pause and recognize the habit of speaking to what isn't. The mind, ever obedient, dutifully reproduces the very thing it dwells upon. To break free, consciously choose your focus in each moment. If a thought of absence arises, see it for what it is, a fleeting shadow at the periphery of your awareness. Then deliberately recast your inner gaze toward the desired scene. Creating this shift requires imagination as your tool. Rather than slipping into worry or frustration, craft a brief mental vignette that hints at your end goal. It need not be elaborate, perhaps a simple image of your special person pausing midday to smile at a memory of you. The more sensory the scene, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin, hearing the soft cadence of their laughter, the more compelling it becomes to your inner mind. Practice conjuring this vignette whenever you catch yourself in the grip of doubt. As you redirect attention, infuse the new focus with a sense of ownership. Speak internally in the first person. I am the one who captivates their thoughts. Notice how the simple shift from seeking to owning restructures your inner dialogue. Ownership carries empowerment. Seeking carries lack. When you own the narrative, you align every corner of your consciousness with the reality you wish to bring forth. The power of this practice lies in its repetition. Each moment you catch and redirect your focus is like lifting a weight from one shoulder and placing it on the other, until the new posture becomes natural. To support this, weave reminders into your daily life. Perhaps attach your mental vignette to a common trigger, opening a door, pouring a cup of tea, or looking at your reflection in the mirror. Let each small act become a cue to redirect your attention to the imagined reality. It's natural for resistance to surface in the form of inner protest, but they didn't text me back. When you hear that inner objection, don't fight it directly. Acknowledge it with kindness. I see you're worried. Then gently pivot. Use a phrase like, that's not important now. I'm choosing to see them enchanted by my thoughts. By honoring the worry and then moving past it, you avoid the tug of war that magnifies conflict, and instead practice smooth transitions of attention. Over time, these conscious refocusings build an unwavering habit. You begin to live less in the mirror of outer events and more in the theater of your chosen imagination. As your inner world becomes steadier and more aligned with desire, external circumstances follow suit. You might notice a sudden message, a chance encounter, or an unexpected gesture that seems to spring from nowhere. These are the ripples created by the pebble of redirected attention. To deepen the practice, introduce a brief pause each morning and evening. In that pause, ask yourself, where is my focus right now? If it's on absence or lack, gently guided toward the image of mutual fascination you've crafted. Spend only a minute or two in this state, feeling the shift in your energy. Then carry that elevated frequency into your day or night, allowing every action to be colored by the certainty of the end. A helpful metaphor is that of a radio tuner. If your dial is caught between stations, static and murmur, you hear noise. When you tune deliberately to the frequency of your desired scene, the signal comes through clearly. Redirecting attention is the act of fine-tuning your mental dial. Each time you catch wandering thoughts, you adjust the knob back to the sweet spot of your intention. Remember that your mental theater is private, safe, and limitless. You need not wait for external validation or perfect timing. You can rehearse the scene anytime, anywhere. A few seconds in a quiet moment, a brief pause in a busy day. These become powerful opportunities to realign. As the practice strengthens, you'll find that even in the midst of noise and distraction, you can maintain your inner focus like a rock in a rushing stream. This shift from external to internal focus is not denial of reality, but an intelligent use of your creative power. It honors the fact that your outer world is a reflection of inner priority. When you consistently prioritize the imagined scene over contradictory evidence, you plant the seeds for your subconscious to grow the garden you envision. In time, you witness the bloom of attention and affection you summoned in the soil of your mind. Each redirection is a moment of conscious creation. With each practice, you reclaim authority over your experience, moving from passive observer to active architect. As you steadfastly choose your inner focus, the edges of fantasy and reality begin to blur. What was once an imagined possibility emerges as living evidence of your skillful redirection. And in that unfolding, you realize that the power to command attention lies not in circumstance, but in the unwavering direction of your mind. Imagine stepping into a secret garden within your mind, where every flower, sound, and scent exists solely to honor your deepest desires. This inner sanctuary is where true creation unfolds, and every imaginal act you perform there is a sacred ritual. Treating your imagination with reverence means recognizing that each mental scene you cultivate carries the power to shape reality, turning what was once mere thought into living experience. I recall the first time I handed my imagination that level of respect. Late one night, tired of surface-level daydreams that faded at the slightest distraction, I resolved to craft a simple yet vivid scene. In my mind's eye, I sat at a small cafe table bathed in golden afternoon light, my special person across from me. I saw the delicate curve of their smile, heard the gentle clink of a porcelain cup, and felt the warmth radiate through my fingertips as I held their hand. With each detail, I felt a swelling certainty that this moment was not fantasy but rehearsal. When I opened my eyes, I sensed a shift, a quiet confidence humming beneath my skin, and before long, echoes of that imagined afternoon began to appear in my waking interactions. Every imagined act you perform is like a seed sown in fertile soil. To ensure it takes root, you must water it with sensory detail and conviction. If you imagine a conversation, notice the timbre of the voice, the rhythm of laughter, the warmth of the light on your skin. If you picture an embrace, feel the subtle pressure of their arms and the gentle rise and fall of breath against your chest. These sensory threads weave a tapestry so rich that your subconscious mind accepts it as authentic memory. In essence, you are training your deeper self to believe that the experience has already come to pass. Consistency is the heartbeat of this practice. A single fleeting daydream may uplift you briefly, but regular, deliberate rehearsals build an unshakable inner landscape. Set aside moments each day, perhaps at dawn's quiet or dusk's calm, to revisit your scene. Close your eyes, breathe into the images, and allow the sensations to wash over you. Approach these sessions with the same respect you'd show any sacred ritual. Arrive with intention, perform with presence, and depart with gratitude. Over time, these repeated ceremonies strengthen the neural pathways that connect your imagination to your reality. It's crucial to guard this sacred space against casual wandering thoughts. Distractions are inevitable, emails, errands, the hum of daily life. But you have the power to protect your inner garden. Before each rehearsal, establish a simple ritual, perhaps lighting a candle, turning on a gentle piece of music, or speaking a short acknowledgement like, "This moment belongs to creation." These small actions serve as gateways, signaling to your mind that you are about to engage in something profound. When an intrusive thought emerges, "Did I send that text? Oh, I wonder what they're doing now." Greet it kindly but firmly. Picture it as a leaf drifting away on a stream, and then guide your focus back to the scene you curated. Allowing emotion to flow naturally within your imaginal acts amplifies their potency. Resist the temptation to remain detached or clinical in your approach. Instead, lean fully into the feelings you wish to cultivate: joy, excitement, affection, or peaceful contentment. If you imagine a walk together at sunset, let yourself savor the sensation of soft sand beneath your feet, the murmur of waves at the shoreland, and the warmth of shared laughter. Emotion is the unseen fuel that propels your visions toward manifestation. Without it, your rehearsals remain hollow echoes. Balance richness with brevity. While it's tempting to elaborate endlessly, too much complexity can dilute the power of your imaginal act. Focus on the core moment that encapsulates your desire. The instant of recognition in their eyes, the shared glance that speaks volumes, the whisper of a promise in a single breath. 30 seconds of concentrated, heartfelt imagination can have more impact than minutes of unfocused wandering. By keeping your scene concise, you maintain intensity and clarity, ensuring your subconscious grasps the essence of your intention without distraction. Incorporate tangible anchors to bridge your inner world with your day-to-day life. Perhaps choose a small object, a polished stone, a sprig of lavender, or a cherished trinket that you hold during each rehearsal. As you clasp it, let the texture against your skin reinforce the reality of the scene. Later, whenever you touch that object in waking life, it will evoke an echo of the imaginal act, gently nudging your inner focus back to creation. These physical reminders tether the sacred space of your mind to the landscape of your everyday world. Trust in the subtle alchemy at work. You may not witness transformation overnight, and that's part of the beauty. The subconscious mind, like a master craftsman, works patiently behind the scenes, adjusting threads that gradually weave into the fabric of your experience. Celebrate small signs, perhaps a spontaneous message, a chance meeting, or a fleeting moment of eye contact, as milestones in the unfolding of your vision. Each confirmation, no matter how slight, is proof that your imaginal rehearsals are moving from the theater of thought into the realm of reality. Lastly, honor completion. Once you have performed your imaginal act with full conviction, release any lingering need to control how or when the outcome will manifest. Just as you show respect by offering your rehearsal without expectation, trust that the creative forces you've engaged will orchestrate events in perfect timing. Close each session with a silent bow of gratitude to the fertile ground of your imagination, affirming that what you have sown will flourish in its own divine rhythm. By treating your imagination as sacred ground, approaching each act with reverence, detail, and heartfelt conviction, you transform simple daydreams into powerful rehearsals for life. In that hallowed inner space, you become both artist and audience, crafting scenes that speak directly to the source of creation within you. And as you honor that process, you align the unseen forces that guide reality, ensuring that what you have tenderly imagined will one day bloom before your eyes. Imagine yourself as a determined sailor on an uncharted sea, wind whipping at your face and waves rising like the doubts that threaten to capsize your vessel. Yet beneath every crest and trough, there is a steady pulse guiding you onward, the unwavering persistence that turns mere effort into transformative momentum. When you cultivate this kind of persistence in your inner practice, you fuse consistency with conviction, creating an energetic current so strong that circumstances shift to meet you. There was a time when I began this journey with grand enthusiasm, only to find my resolve eroded by the first sign of delay. I would rehearse my mental scenes for a week, then months, and when no outward evidence appeared, discouragement crept in like a slow fog. One evening, frustrated and ready to abandon the practice, I paused and realized that persistence isn't measured by immediate results, but by the choice to return day after day to the feeling of fulfillment. In that moment, I made a promise to myself: come rain or shine, I would honor my inner rehearsal with the same dedication I would give to any sacred ritual. True persistence is rooted in small, manageable steps rather than Herculean efforts. Instead of vowing to imagine for an hour every morning, begin with a commitment you can easily uphold, perhaps 5 uninterrupted minutes at dawn or dusk. The key is consistency. Those 5 minutes, practiced without exception, accumulate like grains of sand in an hourglass, eventually filling the chamber of your subconscious mind. In practical terms, choose a daily anchor, a habit you already perform without fail, and attach your rehearsal to it. Whether it's the moment you sit down with your first cup of tea or the instant you close your laptop at night, let that trigger signal you to step into your inner rehearsal space. As you maintain this rhythm, recognize that genuine progress often travels at an imperceptible pace. You may feel as though you adrift in a sea of sameness, repeating the same scenes with no visible change. This is precisely when persistence shines brightest. When you continue to imagine the same electric moment, despite apparent stagnation, you are demonstrating faith in the invisible architecture of reality. Behind the scenes, subconscious forces are quietly drawing events into alignment, like unseen currents steering your ship toward its destined shore. Celebrate these unseen victories. Each moment you choose to return to the practice is a triumph of commitment over wavering thought. Obstacles are inevitable companions on the path of persistence. Life's demands, urgent tasks, unexpected crises, or sudden fatigue will tug at your attention, tempting you to skip a rehearsal or shorten its duration. When that happens, treat yourself with kindness rather than harsh judgment. Acknowledge the challenge. I see that today has been overwhelming, and then gently recommit. In a moment, I will carve out 3 minutes to return to my scene. This compassionate approach transforms resistance into cooperation, making persistence a source of self-care rather than self-criticism. Over time, your mind learns to respect this balanced insistence, understanding that the practice is both a necessity and a nurture. To deepen your persistence, infuse each rehearsal with fresh intent. While your core scene may remain constant, adjust subtle details, shift the backdrop from day to twilight, change the phrasing of your internal affirmations, or introduce a new imagined sensation. These variations keep your mind engaged and prevent the ritual from becoming mechanical. Think of it as tuning an instrument. Regular adjustments ensure the melody stays vibrant. By renewing your enthusiasm in each session, you reinforce the mental pathways that connect imagination with reality, strengthening the habit of persistence itself. Another strategy is to keep a simple log of your inner practice. Record the date, the duration of your rehearsal, and one vivid detail that stood out. Perhaps the color of their eyes in your scene or the warmth of their smile. Reviewing this log weekly reveals patterns. You might notice that brief sessions after a walk feel particularly potent, or that evening rituals resonate more deeply than morning ones. Use these insights to fine-tune your approach, making persistence not just a blind repetition, but an intelligent, adaptive journey. Persistence also thrives when tethered to a broader purpose. Remind yourself why you embarked on this path, the joy of shared moments, the magnetic pull of mutual fascination, the deep knowing that your inner world is the birthplace of experience. When motivation wanes, reconnect with that purpose. Picture the life you're co-creating, moments of laughter, whispered confidences, the simple bliss of being known and cherished. Let that vision serve as a North Star, illuminating the way through any fog of doubt. Lastly, trust that your steadfast persistence eventually becomes its own reward. As you condition your mind to honor the practice without fail, a sense of inner authority emerges. You realize that regardless of external validation, you possess the power to shape your mental and emotional landscape at will. This intrinsic confidence radiates outward, subtly influencing your interactions and environment. In time, you'll find that what once required conscious effort flows effortlessly, as persistence becomes woven into the fabric of your being. By dedicating yourself to unwavering persistence through small, consistent actions, compassionate recommitments, adapted variations, and purposeful motivation, you forge a path where inner practice and outer reality converge. Like a sailor guided by the pulse of unseen currents, you navigate toward your chosen destination with grace and assurance, knowing that each steadfast rehearsal brings you closer to the experience you have already embraced within. Imagine waking each morning with a quiet surge of thankfulness in your chest, as though the world has already conspired to bring you your heart's desire. That initial spark of gratitude sets a tone for everything that follows, transforming simple moments into powerful reminders that your envisioned reality is already on its way. When you anchor your feeling state in gratitude, you cultivate an atmosphere within yourself that is irresistibly fertile for manifestation, much like a garden enriched by abundant sunlight and gentle rain. To begin, choose a single element of your envisioned outcome and feel genuine appreciation for it, even before it appears outwardly. It might be the way their voice lingers in your memory, the warmth of their smile, or the delightful ease of shared laughter. As you focus on this detail, let yourself truly taste the gratitude. Feel the soft expansion in your chest, the subtle uplift in your shoulders, the rhythmic calm of your breath. This embodied sense of gratitude is more than a polite sentiment. It is a magnetic force that resonates with the deepest currents of your subconscious mind, drawing experiences that match its frequency. In practice, gratitude anchors your intention by shifting your inner dialogue away from lack and toward abundance. Notice when your mind drifts into thoughts of I need, I wish, or I hope. Each of those phrases carries a subtle undertone of insufficiency. Gently correct yourself by framing your desire as an already received gift. I am so grateful that they think of me often. Or I appreciate the way our bond deepens every day. These declarations, spoken or thought in the present tense, immerse you in the feeling of fulfillment rather than projection into some uncertain future. Over time, this grateful posture rewires your habitual thought patterns, making room for new, congruent experiences to enter your life. A simple ritual can help cement this practice. Each evening, find a quiet moment to close your eyes and reflect on 3 vivid aspects of your desired connection that you can genuinely celebrate now. Perhaps you savor the memory of an imagined stroll together under twinkling lights, the sound of their laughter echoing in your mind, or the warmth that spreads through you at the thought of their affection. As you revisit these moments, speak a heartfelt thank you internally and let the words wash through you like a soothing wave. Even if the exterior evidence seems absent, your inner acknowledgement signals to your subconscious that this reality is already unfolding, prompting it to align external events accordingly. In addition to mental practice, incorporate gratitude into your daily life through tangible actions. You might jot down brief notes of appreciation on sticky notes and place them where you'll see them, on your mirror, your desk, or your bedside table. Each glance offers a quick mental reset, anchoring you back into the grateful state you wish to embody. Another option is to select a tactile object, a smooth pebble, a small crystal, or a particular piece of jewelry as a gratitude token. Whenever you touch or hold that object, pause for a heartbeat to feel gratitude for the desired outcome. These physical cues weave the feeling of appreciation into the fabric of your day, reinforcing your inner alignment even in busy or stressful moments. Gratitude also thrives in community. Sharing your appreciation with someone you trust, perhaps a close friend or a loved one, doubles its power. Speaking your thankfulness aloud, even in the hypothetical tense, brings your inner state into the realm of shared human experience. For example, you might tell a friend, I'm so grateful that my special person feels drawn to me in the sweetest ways, and observe their supportive response. Their positive energy amplifies your own, creating a feedback loop of encouragement and belief that strengthens your inner conviction. As you deepen your gratitude practice, watch for subtle shifts in how you perceive your reality, small synchronicities, a message at just the right moment, an unexpected compliment, a shared glance, become signposts that your grateful state is indeed shaping your world. Rather than brushing these off as coincidences, pause and delight in them. Each one is evidence that your inner frequency resonates with the outcomes you cherish. And celebrating these moments fuels the cycle of gratitude and manifestation. Remember that gratitude is not conditional on perfect circumstances. You need not wait until your special person calls or meets you in person to feel thankful. The very act of feeling gratitude for the thought of them, for the imagined scenes you've created, is enough to set the creative forces in motion. In fact, when gratitude arises in spite of apparent absence, it demonstrates the depth of your inner alignment and your willingness to inhabit the feeling before the fact, an essential principle of effective manifestation practice. Cultivating a grateful heart also guards against impatience and discouragement. When delays occur or doubts surface, returning to gratitude offers an immediate reprieve from anxiety. Instead of fixating on what's missing, you can find something to appreciate in the present moment, a breath of fresh air, a comforting cup of tea, or the supportive presence of a pet. This pivot away from lack and toward appreciation replenishes your emotional reserves, making it easier to resume your telepathic imagining with renewed vigor. Ultimately, anchoring your feeling state in gratitude transforms your entire approach. No longer is manifestation a chore or a mechanical exercise. It becomes a joyful collaboration with the unseen forces that govern reality. Each act of gratitude is like a handshake with the universe, affirming that you are ready to receive. As you carry this enriched feeling of thanks through your days, you discover that the life you have been imagining begins to align almost effortlessly with the world you inhabit, revealing proof that gratitude is indeed the magnet that draws your desires home. I once stood at the edge of a vast canyon, its depths shrouded in mist, and felt the same tension that arises when you confront the gap between your present reality and the future you long to inhabit. That space is the silent chasm of not yet. Can quicken the pulse with anxiety or leave you frozen by uncertainty. Yet it need not be a barrier. It can become the very bridge that carries your desire into form. The key is to refuse worry its place and instead fill that gap with the unwavering assurance that your inner feeling already mirrors the reality you seek. Imagine the gap as an echo chamber. Every anxious thought you project reverberates back, amplifying doubt and fear. When you catch yourself worrying about timing, about obstacles, about whether you're enough, you inadvertently widen that echo, deepening the canyon between here and there. To close this divide, choose instead to broadcast the signal of assurance, the confident heartbeat of fulfilled desire. Ask yourself not, why am I not there yet, but rather, how would it feel if I were already living this reality? Lean into that feeling as though it were a tangible garment you could slip on, letting its warmth envelop you. In practice, begin by noticing the moment you become aware of the gap. Perhaps you find yourself scrolling through social media, comparing your life to others. Maybe you catch a lingering doubt as a daydream stutters and stalls. The instant you recognize that uneasy space, pause. Take a centering breath and call to mind a single image or phrase that encapsulates your desired reality. It could be as simple as the memory of their laughter or the comforting weight of a shared embrace. Hold that image gently in your mind's eye and feel its emotional resonance, as though you are already experiencing it now. As you cultivate this habit of replacement, you build an inner muscle that automatically fills every shadow of worry with a spark of assurance. Over time, the canyon shrinks until it dissolves entirely, and you find yourself seamlessly moving from thought to feeling to reality. But like any muscle, it grows strongest when you exercise it consistently. Insert micro practices throughout your day. When you wait in line, take a silent moment to affirm, I am already cherished. When you wash your hands, let the warm water carry away doubt and return feelings of sufficiency. When you sit down to eat, remind yourself, this moment is already complete. Words carry immense power in this bridging process. Replace conditional language, I will be happy when, or I'll feel secure if, with present tense declarations, I am experiencing joy now, or I'm safe and abundant. Say these phrases aloud when possible, listening to the tone of your own voice. The vibrations you produce reinforce the inner landscape, convincing your deeper self that the gap is already closed. If fear or skepticism surfaces, treat it like a child at the door. Acknowledge its presence without inviting it in, then gently close the door behind you by restating your assurance. Another potent technique is to create an inner dialogue in which you imagine your future self comforting your present self. Picture that version of you, calm, joyful, assured, leaning in and whispering a single sentence. You are already living this. Feel that voice resonate in your chest, dissolving any residue of doubt. This rehearsal not only strengthens your inner conviction, but also fosters a sense of compassion for the parts of you that still cling to worry. By uniting present and future selves, you weave a continuous thread of assurance that stretches across time, eliminating any sense of separation. It's also helpful to maintain a journal dedicated solely to bridge-building moments. Each day, jot down one instance when you noticed the gap and successfully replaced it with assurance. Perhaps you felt a rush of gratitude when the mail arrived, convinced it carried good news. Maybe you found yourself smiling at an imagined text that hadn't come yet, only to receive it hours later. Record these small victories with detail. Note the trigger, the assurance you used, and the outcome. As you review these entries, patterns emerge, reinforcing your trust in the creative process and shrinking the canyon further. Physical movement can support this mental shift as well. When you sense the gap opening beneath you, stand up, stretch, and ground yourself. Feel your feet pressing into the earth, connect with the solidity beneath you, and let that connection symbolize the closing of the divide. You might even walk in a deliberate rhythm, step, breath, assurance, letting each footfall echo the feeling that you are already there. Embodied practice reminds your mind and body that there is no actual separation. Every movement becomes proof of your integrated presence. As you strengthen this inner alignment, you'll notice that external coincidences begin to reflect your inner state. A chance conversation may bring news of an upcoming meeting with your special person. A song on the radio may echo the feeling you held in your heart. These synchronicities are not random. They are the canyon walls themselves, rearranging, guided by your assurance. Celebrate these moments as milestones. Each one testifies that the gap is no barrier, but a folding of time and space, wrought by the power of your feeling. Ultimately, the art of filling the gap lies in unwavering consistency. You may falter, you may forget and lapse into doubt. When that happens, meet yourself with kindness. Recognize that the very desire to return to assurance is itself a sign of progress. Gently shift back, whisper your affirmation, and move forward. Persistence in this practice cements the understanding that the gap exists only in the mind, and that your inner conviction alone dictates the unfolding of experience. In time, you will come to see that the space between now and then is merely a canvas waiting for the color of your feeling. By habitually painting it with strokes of assurance, you transform a void into a bridge, a living pathway that carries your desires from imagination into the tangible world. And in that seamless continuum, you learn the secret that what you feel now truly determines what you experience next. Imagine standing before a polished mirror at dawn, its surface reflecting every nuance of your expression, each flicker of hope, each shadow of doubt. What if I told you that this mirror is not glass, but a living page, inscribing the dialogue you carry within? Every thought, every word you utter to yourself ripples outward, creating the tapestry of your daily experience. When you understand that your external world is a mirror of your inner conversations, you hold the key to transformative change. I once noticed how quickly a single complaining thought could sour an entire morning. A delayed message from a friend became evidence of disinterest. My inner narrative spun a tale of rejection so convincing that I carried its weight throughout the day. It wasn't until I caught myself lamenting, "They don't care about me," that I realized my words were not harmless complaints, but declarations shaping reality. In that moment of awareness, I paused and replaced the narrative with, "They value and think of me often." Almost immediately, my mood shifted, and later that day, a warm note arrived that perfectly matched my revised inner script. To harness this mirror effect, begin by cultivating gentle awareness of your self-talk. Notice how you describe situations in your head and the tone you employ. Is it harsh criticism, urgent worry, or compassionate encouragement? Treat your inner voice like a conversation with a dear friend. When you detect negativity, phrases of "I can't," "they won't," or "I'm not enough," pause. Greet the thought with kindness, acknowledging its presence without judgment. "I see." Then consciously choose to speak a new phrase that aligns with your fulfilled desire. "I am worthy of love," or "they are drawn to my presence." This simple shift rewrites the mirror, guiding your subconscious to present reflections that match your revised outlook. Words carry vibration. They are the chords that tune the instrument of your mind. If you strike a chord of lack or fear, the subconscious hears dissonance and responds accordingly, producing more of what you don't want. Conversely, when you play the chord of fulfillment and confidence, the mind resonates with harmony, attracting experiences that echo that tune. Practice by creating a small repertoire of affirmative phrases that feel authentic and uplifting. Keep these close. Write them on a note card, save them in your phone, or repeat them like a calming mantra during quiet moments. As you reinforce these positive refrains, they become the default soundtrack of your inner world. Equally important is the surgical removal of habitual complaints. We often treat complaining as a benign release valve, but each complaint is a tiny brick added to the wall separating you from your desired reality. When you feel the itch to complain, pause and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what outcome am I inadvertently calling into being? Then deliberately rephrase the thought to focus on what you want. For instance, replace "I'm stuck in traffic again" with "I'm grateful for this time to relax and prepare for my day." The momentary pause, combined with conscious reframing, gradually dismantles the complaining habit and replaces it with creative scripting. Awareness of tone is just as vital as the words themselves. The subconscious doesn't analyze grammar. It mirrors the emotion and energy behind your speech. A confident whisper can carry more power than a shouted phrase drenched in doubt. When you speak affirmations, lean into the feeling they evoke. Feel the warmth of self-acceptance in your chest, the gentle buoyancy of hope in your lungs. As your body responds with subtle shifts, a softened brow, a relaxed jaw, you confirm to your deeper mind that these new words are genuine. Over time, your physiology and your inner dialogue align, creating a seamless conduit for positive manifestation. Another technique is to hold regular mirror sessions. Stand before an actual mirror, look into your own eyes, and speak your chosen affirmations aloud. Observe any resistance in your face, the tightness around your eyes, the tension in your shoulders. Acknowledge these signals as indicators of belief still waiting to be healed. Gently persist in your affirmations, allowing the tone of your voice and the feeling in your heart to soften those tensions. These sessions create a powerful direct feedback loop between your conscious intent and your subconscious acceptance, accelerating the alignment of your inner and outer realities. It's natural for old patterns to surface, especially under stress or fatigue. When you catch yourself slipping into complaining or fearful chatter, resist the urge to chastise yourself. Instead, treat it as an opportunity for compassion and course correction. Think of your subconscious like a young apprentice learning a new craft. Every time you lovingly correct the narrative, you teach it the skill of constructive creation. To celebrate these moments of redirection, each is proof that your mirror is becoming more responsive to your chosen tone. As your inner conversations become more consistently positive and focused on fulfillment, watch for shifts in your external world. You may notice people responding to you with unexpected kindness, doors opening in surprising ways, or opportunities emerging where there were none. These are the mirror's genuine reflections of your revised script. When such signs appear, pause to acknowledge and appreciate them fully. This acts as further reinforcement, signaling to your subconscious that its efforts are effective and encouraging it to continue presenting aligned experiences. Ultimately, mastering the mirror of your external world begins with the simple, profound decision to speak only in tones that uplift and affirm. By replacing complaints and fears with clear, heartfelt affirmations of your desired reality, you transform your internal dialogue from a stumbling block into a stepping stone. And as day follows night, you'll find that the world outside lovingly mirrors the harmonious conversation you nurture within. Feel into the gentle rhythm of life unfolding, as though you are a leaf carried by a stream, a trusting observer, open to the currents, but never grasping at each ripple. When you anchor your inner state in the certainty of fulfillment, the most profound art is to release the reins and allow events to arrange themselves in perfect harmony. This trust in timing is not passive resignation, but an act of surrender, a knowing that your inner broadcast has been received and that universal intelligence now orchestrates every detail on your behalf. I once stood beneath a canopy of stars, feeling both exhilarated and anxious about how my imagined outcome would manifest. In that vast silence, I realized that while I had done my part, cultivating the feeling, performing the rehearsals, and reinforcing my convictions, there remained an invisible choreography at work. The stars themselves seemed to whisper that timing is woven into the fabric of the cosmos. In that moment, I chose to soften my grip on when and how, trusting that the seeds planted in my imagination would sprout in their own divine season. Trusting timing begins with acknowledging that visible signs of progress may lag behind the deep, unseen shifts you have already ignited. Just as a gardener does not expect sprouts immediately after sowing seeds, you can rest in the assurance that your inner state has initiated growth below the surface. If doubts arise, perhaps a day passes without evidence, or circumstances appear to contradict your goal, remind yourself gently. Growth happens in hidden realms before bursting into view. Your task is to remain faithful, not frantic, to the unfolding process. To cultivate this faith, integrate moments of mindful pause into your routine. After completing your telepathic rehearsal or affirmation, take a long, deliberate breath. Feel the exhale as a letting go, an offering of your intention to the currents of life. You might visualize the breath carrying your desire into a limitless sky where it merges with universal intelligence. This symbolic act of release reinforces your trust. You have done the inner work, and now you welcome whatever choreography the universe has planned. Language shapes your inner climate. When you catch yourself worrying about timing, phrases like, "Why isn't this happening yet?" or "What if it never comes?" Pause and translate them into statements of trust. I release this to perfect timing, or I welcome the perfect sequence of events. Speaking kindly to yourself in this way transforms anxiety into affirmation. Notice how these new phrases feel in your body. Perhaps a softening in your chest, a lengthening. Those sensations confirm that you are moving from resistance into harmony. Another powerful practice is to cultivate gratitude for what is already unfolding, even in small ways. Did a friend reach out unexpectedly? Did a thought pop into your mind that felt encouraging? These little blessings are breadcrumbs leading you toward your goal. Each time you recognize and celebrate these small manifestations, you reinforce your trust in timing. You begin to see life as a continuous stream of confirmations rather than a series of delays. In moments when impatience tugs at your awareness, Gently redirect your focus toward activities that nourish your heart and mind. Engage in a creative pursuit, lose yourself in a favorite book, or spend time with loved ones. By filling your life with joyful engagement, you create positive momentum that aligns with the unfolding of your desire. This does not distract you from your intention. Rather, it embodies the trust that life is abundant and that your goal will emerge amid the richness of experience. Observe how trust transforms your energy. When you release attachment to outcomes, tension dissipates, and you radiate a calm confidence. This relaxed state is magnetic. It not only feels better internally, but also signals to others that you are grounded and self-assured. In human interactions, this quality draws people naturally as they respond to your unspoken assurance. Thus, by trusting timing, you not only ease your inner landscape, but also amplify your attractive presence in the outer world. To deepen this surrender, consider keeping a simple trust log. Each time you experience a moment of guidance, an intuitive nudge, a fortuitous coincidence, or a sudden insight, write it down. Over weeks and months, you will accumulate a tapestry of proof that the universe responds to your inner state in its own perfect rhythm. Reviewing this log on days when trust feels shaky can rekindle your faith, reminding you that your inner work has always been met with subtle, synchronistic support. It can be helpful to draw inspiration from nature's own timing. Reflect on the seasons. Seeds germinate beneath frost, blooms wait for the right warmth, and fruit ripens after patient growth. You are part of this living cycle. By aligning yourself with nature's cadence, embracing rest, action, reflection, you harmonize your personal journey with the greater flow. Just as you would not yank a blossom from its branch before ripening, so too you honor your own unfolding process. Finally, understand that trust in timing is itself an ongoing practice. You may release fully one day, only to find anxious thoughts creeping back the next. When that happens, treat yourself with kindness, acknowledge the ebb and flow of human emotion, and return gently to your center. Practice the breath of surrender. Reaffirm your affirmations of release, and immerse yourself in gratitude. With each cycle of release and renewal, your trust deepens, and the manifestation process becomes smoother and more effortless. By incorporating these practices, symbolic release breaths, trust-centered language, gratitude for small signs, joyful engagement, supportive logs, and natural metaphors, you weave a tapestry of faith that underpins every step of your creative journey. In that space of surrendered assurance, you stand not as a frantic architect clinging to details, but as a composed collaborator with invisible forces, ready to welcome the miraculous timing that brings your visions to life. And so, by weaving together the unshakable certainty of your intention, the deliberate shift of focus away from lack, the sacred rehearsal of vivid imaginal acts, and the steady flame of persistence, you prime every part of your being to radiate attraction. Anchoring your state in heartfelt gratitude transforms each moment into evidence of your unfolding success, while filling the gap with assurance bridges the space between now and your desired reality. Your inner conversations, carefully tended, become the mirror reflecting devotion and fascination back to you, and your willingness to release attachment to timing invites unseen forces to choreograph every detail. As you practice these principles, day by day, moment by moment, you'll discover that the magnetism you cultivate within ripples outward, creating natural, effortless connections that draw your special person ever closer. Keep returning to these practices with both conviction and ease, trusting that your inner work is already bearing fruit. With each breath of gratitude and every whispered affirmation, you reinforce the invisible threads linking imagination to experience, until the world you so vividly envisioned becomes the life you joyfully live.